Hello everyone. In this video, we will understand about the recent budget changes which has happened with respect to TCS. The Finance Bill 2020 has amended tax collection at source provisions in order to widen and deepen its tax base. So here, by including remittance under liberalized remittance scheme, sale of overseas tour packages and sale of goods, this change shall come into force from 1st October 2020. Under this new changes, TCS is required to be collected at the time of receipt or debiting the amount, whichever is earlier. So as per the new provisions, there are certain new things coming under purview of TCS. Those are foreign remittance through liberalized remittance scheme, education loan taken under ATE and which is remitted out of India, sale of overseas tour package, and TCS on receiving an amount as consideration for sale of any goods and as per this section. Okay, so these is the budget changes which has happened, and when we see the rate of tax and the threshold limit depends on the nature of goods. So now let us understand, based on the nature of goods, what is the rate of tax applicable and what are the conditions applicable for collecting tax. So the first one is about TCS on receiving an amount as consideration for sale of any goods. So in case of sale of any goods on consideration which is received, so what are the rules applicable? So every seller whose total sales, gross receipts or turnover from business carried on by him exceed rupees 10 crores during the financial year 2019-20 and onwards. And if the seller receiving an amount as consideration for sale of any goods of such value or aggregate of such value exceeding 50 lakh rupees during the financial year 2021 and onwards to collect tax from the buyer. So here there are two criteria. One is the seller's turnover or gross receipts or total sales from his business activity should be above 10 crores in 2019-20 onwards. If seller is falling under this criteria, he has to collect TCS on sale of goods if the total sales consideration received from the buyer is above 50 lakhs in the financial year 2020-21 onwards. The name is TCS on receiving an amount as consideration for sale of any goods. The section code for this is 206C and the payment code is yet to be notified by the department. And rate of tax, if the person furnishes PAN or Aadhaar, it is 0.075%. If the Aadhaar or PAN is not furnished, then the rate of tax is 1%. Actually, when this was announced, the rate of tax was 0.1% for the people with PAN. However, due to COVID outbreak, the department has reduced the rate by 25% for PAN holders. Therefore, the PAN holders are now required to pay at 0.075%. The threshold limit, as we saw earlier, it is 50 lakhs and this is effective from 1st October 2020. So this is about TCS on amount received as consideration for sale of any goods. So two things to note here. One is when it is applicable, it is on some threshold limit and the rate of tax varies for people with PAN and people without PAN. So we'll move on to the next section. So foreign remittance through liberalized remittance scheme. So under this scheme, an individual can send money to other country for investment or expenditure purpose under this. An authorized dealer who is receiving an amount or aggregate of an amount exceeding rupees 7 lakhs during financial year from a single buyer for remitting outside India is liable to collect. So here the threshold limit is 7 lakh rupees and the section code, when you see, it is 206C and the remittance can happen for two things. One is foreign remittance through liberalized scheme or education loan. The payment code even for this is yet to be provided by the department, and the rate of tax which is applicable is for foreign remittance with PAN or Aadhaar it is 5%. If the PAN or Aadhaar is not furnished, it is 10%. For education loan which is obtained under section 80E with PAN or Aadhaar, the percentage of tax is 0.5 and without PAN or Aadhaar it is 5%. So the threshold limit, as we saw earlier, it is 7 lakh rupees. So these are the provisions for foreign remittance through liberalized remittance scheme. We shall move on to the next section, which is TCS on sale of overseas tour packages. This is a new thing which is introduced where a seller of an overseas tour package receiving any amount from the buyers for purchasing the package is liable to collect TCS from the buyer and remit it to the department. So when a seller is giving overseas tour package, he is supposed to collect TCS from the buyer. Again, here the section code is same. The payment code is yet to be provided by the department. The rate of tax for people with PAN or Aadhaar is 5% and without PAN or Aadhaar it is 10%. So these are the three changes which have happened in TCS in budget 2020 and which has come into force from 1st October 2020. Thank you for watching this video.